Hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. Summer travel is on the minds of many these days, and with it, many concerns and questions. So in a few seconds, travel expert Onanta Forbes will join me to discuss what those concerns might be. And the cruise guru, David Yeskel, who is often a guest on our show, will stop by to give us his review of the MSC World America. It's one of MSC Cruises' newest ships, so we'll get the lowdown from David. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the latest travel news and trends and travel tips in general. You can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Hello, Onanta. We haven't chatted for a while, so how have you been?
All is well. I've been lucky to have been traveling, but always good to come home as well. And that's, we're looking forward to summer, and Canadians are thinking about traveling as well for the summer break.
Well, exactly. I think everybody, regardless of how you want to define it, is going to probably go somewhere, whether it's a day trip, a few days here, or maybe a longer vacation to Europe. Europe always seems to be popular in the summer. So, but there's lots of concerns out there, as always, it seems, in the travel industry. It's never easy. What are you hearing in the rumblings of your colleagues and with your clients?
Well, people still want to travel. They really do. But I think they're going to be, or they are, more intentional about how they choose to travel. So you're right. There is so much going on in the world right now. Rising airfare, accommodation costs, the fuel prices, exchange rates. So overall travel expenses are pushing many Canadians to think how and where they're going to travel. So rather than canceling vacations altogether, more becoming more selective and strategic, and they're prioritizing value and looking ways to stretch their budget. At the same time, as you say, there's lots going on, and that includes flight delays, cancellation, airline route reductions, new border screening in Europe. So it's a lot going on, and it makes people stop and think about what should they do. And what we're seeing is that they're looking at ways to cut their costs, right? But still have a good holiday. But one thing I recommend is that you don't skimp on insurance, because what was once viewed as optional is increasingly considered to be essential, especially during climate events or operational disruptions and unexpected travel interruptions. So I always think, make sure you have emergency hospital medical insurance and trip cancellation, whether it covers interruption, disruption, and cancellation. And yes, there's different things that have really played in the foremost of people's mind, like this fuel shortage. And now a couple of weeks ago, Manulife and other travel providers are saying this is a known event. So if you booked prior to them saying it was a known event and you were affected by a change due to the fuel surcharges, you'd be covered. But now it isn't. It isn't going to be covered if you book now and you buy insurance. So that's why I always say to clients, look at insurance coverage that covers you for cancel for any reason, because it could be any reason, right? You don't have to be concerned about what the reason is. So lots of things going on, lots of reasons to change the way you want to travel. But that, bodes good for domestic travel within Canada, because the prices, yes, travel in Canada is never, ever cheap. But, working with your travel advisor, they can, if they know where you want to travel to, they can keep an eye on trends and maybe airlines that are offering nice rates to different places. The opportunity to not worry about the exchange rate
I just wanted to back up just a little bit with the
Mm,
travel insurance.
yes.
And you're talking about cancel for any reason. That is prior to your trip, correct? If I'm correct
Yes.
in my insurance knowledge, which is limited, but which is fine. But it's when you're already at your destination. What if there is a flight delay or cancellation due to a fuel shortage? It's one thing to be able to cancel before you go away. It's when you're already at your destination where you can really get into some sticky situations.
Right. And it's right. You're right. It's a complex scenario because when you're at destination and you are affected, what are you affected by and what are you going to be covered by? So it's always good to read the fine print of your insurance policy. That question isn't a black and white question to answer because it really does depend on your scenario
Hmm.
and where you're at and what's happening. A lot of the time, and this is speaking from my own personal experience and my guests who are traveling and have been affected by the fuel surcharge and the airline they're going on have either reduced their routes or canceled the routes altogether. We usually know before they go to be able to address it. It's not really at destination that I'm seeing that
Mm,
the jets, fuel scenario is affecting people.
good.
So it's a situation that we all look at independently and see how we can help the guests at destination with the different suppliers involved. And
Hmm.
that's another thing that I'm finding is, say you're going on a river cruise and we book your air through the river cruise company. That's where the river cruise company really helps out because they have broad contracts with different airlines that they can help you get to your destination or reroute you. And then they know where you're going as far as the cruise.
Hmm.
So that's where I'm finding, good planning comes into effect because we're dealing with one source to help you with many components of your vacation.
And I guess the bottom line on all of what we're talking about is cost. So
Yes.
regardless of what your budget is, you can make adjustments. If instead of staying for a week somewhere, maybe stay for 5 days, shorten it up. Instead of flying, maybe drive. Although the price of gas isn't quite what it used to be a year ago. But yeah, it seems to me that out of all these factors, it's the cost that's going to just make the final decision of what people are going to do.
I think that's a very valid point. Because, having at home I guess, for the lack of a better word, your domestic budget being affected, that affects travel because it's something that it's in my life. Yeah, it is mandatory, but not in everybody's life. Like they don't have to travel, right?
No,
So
this is true.
it's discretionary, right? If you have increasing costs in your everyday life, it may affect going on a trip or how you go on a trip.
Hmm.
But like you say, there's lots of ways to address it. Um, Thinking maybe not an international destination this year, or maybe going in a different time of year instead of summer. Go off season, fall, maybe a winter holiday, because that's where the crowds aren't there. It's a lower time period, and there's very competitive rates out there. The cruise market is so competitive. There's so many cruise ships out there that are
Hmm.
all vying for your dollar and your business that cruising is becoming very attractive. Lots of repeat clients go on cruising. Now with river cruising, there's different options. Granted, it's seasonal, but there's different ways to still take advantage of traveling at home and abroad.
Hmm. And well, for just review the new European entry requirements for us.
It's called EES. It's exit and entry system. And instead of going to a customs officer and presenting your passport, it's all on biometrics now. So you'd go to these kiosks and you'd scan your passport. So you take a picture, and it's supposed to encourage easier flow through connecting points, your first connecting point or your first destination in Europe. However, It's not flawless. We have been seeing some definite delays and some backups in crowds, getting through the point. And in some countries such as Portugal, they've actually kind of scrapped it because there were so many delays and concerns about people getting to their next point or getting into the country. So always pack your patience because that's travel these days.
Well, this is true.
No matter what component or type of travel, sometimes it's just not an easy flow. So definitely try to be flexible and be patient because you're going to need it at the end of the day.
And we've talked about this before too. Secondary locations also may have be less expensive, and as you pointed out too, less crowded. So, for example, instead of Paris, go somewhere else in France that might be a little bit cheaper or less crowded, right?
Absolutely. And, it's actually not bad. Like, yes, we hear in the marketplace that airlines are canceling or changing their routes to different places. But, especially from Calgary, we have a really good international gateway to different countries throughout the world. So yeah, look at the options that are there to think about different stays and different destinations. To still have a great trip, wherever, you're thinking that that's going to be the opportunity to go. Now, I wanted to share with you, like, people are definitely looking at being more budget conscious, but they do splurge. Like it's still, people still want that memory, that unique culinary experience or that meaningful excursion. So yes, we're looking at our budget, but still we want to enjoy ourselves when we're away.
Well, yeah, we want to get value for our dollar, I think is probably a way of putting it. And if we see value, then maybe you will spend a little bit more if that's the experience that you want to enjoy, right?
Right. And absolutely. And I think people are also thinking and recognizing the world can change on a dime. So they want to experience it now versus later.
Yes. Well, yes, exactly. That too. Anything else that you're hearing or want to add?
I really want to encourage people to do their research, work with a travel professional because things change all the time. And what I'm seeing or what I see in the media and such in news articles is that, I think people look at AI to get some ideas or maybe to do some research, but AI isn't always accurate. So be very careful about how you go forth with your trip. Like, I know it's really easy to do your own thing and to be independent in your travel, but just be cautious that not all advice that you find on the internet is accurate.
Really? I didn't know that.
You only get what you put in.
Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. You can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. And you can check out her website too, onantaforbes.com, where she has a great article on traveling to the Philippines, which we were chatting about not too long ago. So great chatting with you, Onanta. Thank you so much.
Take care. Have a good week, everybody.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You could also email me, too, with any questions you might have or show segment ideas. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And you can check out our social media pages, too, at facebook.com/informedtraveler, Instagram @informedtraveler, or on X @Informed Traveler. That's where you'll find a number of videos and photos from our recent visit to Fort Lauderdale and other interviews and stories throughout the year. Plus, you can sign up for our monthly newsletter. It's released at the beginning of every month. Our May issue is available now. Just go to our website, theinformedtraveler.org, click on the newsletter button, and it'll take you right there. Or better yet, you can subscribe to it and have it arrive in your inbox each month. Well, back in April of last year, MSC Cruises launched one of its newer ships, the MSC World America. And recently, David Yeskel, the cruise guru, sailed on it. And David joins us now to share his experience. You can follow his adventures on X at Cruise Guru, and his website is oceancruise.guru. Hi, David. Always nice to chat with you.
Same here. Good to be back.
We are going to talk about the MSC World America. What were your expectations going in? I know you've sailed on MSC before, and what were your thoughts coming off?
I had high expectations because I actually think a lot of this cruise line and their ships. I've sailed on quite a few of them before. Um, you know, I'd say 10, 12 years ago, they were a disruptor in the industry, and they built so many ships and they turn them out so fast. And they're all great and very and different from the others in their competitive set. The competitive set are the contemporary brands, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian.
Mm-hmm.
And their onboard product is very different. It skews a little more European. And the ships are beautiful. And this is their newest ship class, the World class. So they have two so far. MSC World Europa was first. MSC World America, of course, that I was just on. Two more coming, MSC World Asia, MSC World Atlantic, and then a possibility of four more in the years following. So
wow.
I think they have a great platform here.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it met your expectations to answer that question.
It really did. I really did. So I could tell you, not only is the ship gorgeous looking, but it's very practically laid out, which is important for a mega ship so that, for the first 3 days of the voyage, some people on other ships are just trying to find their way around.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the way they do that is there's a 3-deck World Galleria, which runs almost the length of the entire ship. And it looks like an upscale shopping mall. When you look at it, it's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the ship's food and beverage outlets and a lot of the public rooms are located in or just off of the World Galleria. So it's easy to find everything. And plus, there's great people watching. And on the deck 6, which is the lowest deck, it's like a promenade. It's just great. It's really awesome.
Let's talk about just the onboard experience. I know, like we mentioned, you've sailed on MSC before, so you kind of knew what to expect going in, right?
Yeah, exactly. So MSC ships, they describe them, the company describes them as a mix of European flair and American comfort. And so because they're a European company, they call themselves Mediterranean. They're really more Italian focused. They draw a lot of European visitors, even on their ships sailing out of the U.S. ports. So, for instance, on my MSC World America voyage, I'd say there were about 40% Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes the atmosphere different. It's a little more interesting. And the foods also skews a little more Mediterranean. So since they're Italian, of course, the pizzas are great. The pastas are great. Every day there's a choice of 4 different types of pizza. There are multiple new pastas aboard every day. The food's very good. Also, appeals to Americans too. I mean, there's a burger joint aboard. Plenty of things on the menus in the restaurants, of course, to appeal to North American visitors.
Mm-hmm.
But the little bit of European flair, I think, makes it a much more interesting mix. Even the shows are less language dependent, so they can appeal to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that mixture of the European flair with American comfort works very well.
So where did you go, by the way?
So this was a Eastern Caribbean itinerary, round trip from Miami. The ship sails year-round round trip from Miami, 7-day Eastern Caribbean, followed by a 7-day Western Caribbean. They alternate.
Mm-hmm.
So this was San Juan, St. Thomas, and their private island, MSC Ocean Cay, which is just great. It's this massive private island, lots of great beaches, good food options sprinkled throughout, and they're continually upgrading that private island so that that competes. Their private island, and I think this ship competes very well in their competitive set, especially against Royal Caribbean's new Icon class ships.
Mm-hmm.
Big, 5,000 plus passengers, the top deck is an amusement park. It's got an aqua park, slides, a sportsplex with bumper cars, a ropes course, this wild ride called the Cliffhanger that's an over the water swing. Um, Great for families. 21 decks. It's massive, but it's fun. It's fun. Very, like I said, very practically laid out. The shows are great. The ship's just a lot of fun, and I think the food's very good.
So would you know that it's a big mega ship? You know what I mean? Like, is there lineups to go on the Cliffhanger, for example, or to do some of the activities?
So you do notice that, of course, in some areas, the buffet gets very busy, of course, when the ship is at sea for, say, breakfast and lunch. But what they've done to spread out the passenger load is they have two buffets almost nearly identical on two decks. So on deck 18 and 19, they have two buffets, and because of that, it helps spread out the passenger load, and it's not too bad. So yes, it's crowded, but I've never had a problem finding a seat all week. And I was on board, of course, like everybody else was on the sea days. Didn't have a problem finding a seat. Didn't wait long to get an item from the buffet. So they do a very good job of managing the flow. You do notice it getting on and off the ship. That's where the backups occur. The backups are long sometimes, especially getting back on if everybody's coming back to the ship at 4 p.m., say, to sail at 5 p.m. You notice it there. But otherwise, there are enough spaces aboard the ship to spread out. And because of that, you don't feel the crowd.
To me, there's always two types of cruisers. There's one that just cruises for the ship. They love the ship and being on the ship. And then there's the people that go for the destinations. This sounds to me like it would satisfy the type of person that just goes for the ship experience more so than the itinerary.
Well, absolutely. So while a lot of people have been to these ports already, these frequently visited Caribbean ports, I'd say it is more about the ship. It is more about the ship, and there's so much to do on board the ship. There's so many activities, and the shows are great. There's two big shows every night, one in the main showroom, one in the Panorama Lounge, which is all the way aft. I saw all of them. They were great. Nice. Really, really great. They use this third-party company that produces a lot of their shows from Europe. They do a great job. So there's so much to do on the ship. The ship is the destination, essentially. And their private island, which they run very well. So those two things just make it a lot of fun. And I mean, there's a speakeasy aboard that's so cool, and it's hard to get to. I'll just tell you a little bit about that. It was really cool. So the speakeasy, the MSC Speakeasy, is not easy to get to. You have to find out about it.
Speak not so easy,
which is the way a speakeasy should be, right? It should be hidden. And so you have to get this coin, the special coin from a bartender, and then call a number to make a reservation. And then you're told what time to show up at this. There's a red phone booth on deck 6. You show up in the phone booth, lift up the phone, call a certain number, and then they open a back door, and you walk down 3 or 4 decks through crew decks, by the way, to get to the door of the speakeasy. And once you get inside, it's so much fun. It's 1920s Prohibition themed. It's like worn furniture, worn out rugs, a jazz band playing, specialty drinks. It's a cool experience. And believe me, everybody's got speakeasy now all over.
Yeah.
But this one is really cool and keeps to the theme of the, Prohibition era speakeasy.
Is it big? How many people would it
It's not
fit?
too big. No, it's not too big. So they limit the amount of people.
It's like a speakeasy where they're small and
they're relatively small, right?
Yeah.
Hidden away, and you couldn't get to it on your own. I can say that.
One of the things that you've discussed in the past with MSC is Yacht Club. So what's the Yacht Club experience on the World America?
The yacht club experience is they keep building their yacht clubs bigger and bigger. So this is the ship within a ship luxury complex. So it's key card controlled, multiple decks, an all suite accommodation serviced by butlers. And if you're in yacht club, you actually never have to leave. You've got everything there. There's a dedicated lounge, a dedicated restaurant, actually two dedicated restaurants, a dedicated sun deck, a pool grill, the pool. And so it's perfect for people who want a little more or a lot more luxury, I should say, that's available on the general ship, on the main ship,
Mm-hmm.
and great for multi-gen families because it provides a lot of options. So you can never leave the yacht club if you want to remain in your serene enclave. But what I've done in the past, I go out on the rest of the ship and take advantage
Well,
of the
yeah.
big shows, the casinos, some of the other restaurants, the
Yeah.
nightlife. But then you can come back to your serene luxury enclave whenever you want to. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's great. I notice a lot of multi-gen families who, grandparents traveling with their children and the grandchildren. Everybody can go do their own thing during the day, do whatever they want, and then come back at night for dinner. Everybody gets together for dinner at night. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they do a great job at this. I think the yacht club product is there's only one other cruise line that does something similar. That's Norwegian, and theirs is the Haven. Very similar setup, and it offers yacht club offers I think some distinct advantages over the competition in the luxury segment of the industry. Like they're essentially competing with yacht club, Legion, Explorer Journeys, Silver Sea, Crystal, Seabourn against those
Yeah.
luxury products. Their price
Yeah.
point starts out a little lower than those, but the advantages they offer are the advantages of the larger ship outside of the yacht club to do all these activities.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some of the luxury lines will accommodate families. A few of them accommodate families, but the kids get bored because there isn't as much to do on those ships, obviously,
Yeah.
for families. So they have that advantage of offering both the luxury enclave and the rest of the mega ship and everything that's involved there.
Let's talk about a little bit about one of the other ships, the MSC ships. See if I pronounce this correctly. The Poesia. Did I pronounce it?
Yes.
Let's talk just briefly about that one now.
Sure. So this is one of the MSC's older ships, MSC Poesia, that they sent to a shipyard in Malta a few months ago for a refit.
Mm-hmm.
And they put MSC Yacht Club on this ship. So where there was previously the gym and some cabins, they completely refit it, took those out, and installed a yacht club along with the pool area, the restaurant, the lounge, the front of the ship to where it is on their other ships. And the reason why the ship got a substantial refit was because this is going to be MSC's first ship in Alaska.
Okay.
So first season, they haven't sailed out of Alaska before. And I got to board the ship when it was coming through LA last week, just to get a look at these new areas aboard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the way to Seattle, of course. And it looks great. The yacht club, it's just a slightly sized down version of the one like an MSC World America, because this is a much smaller ship.
Mm-hmm.
The mid-sized ship, about 2,500 guests. And it looked great. They upgraded some of the other areas. They added a couple of specialty restaurants that are also on other ships in the fleet. And so they wanted to, for their first ship in Alaska and their first shot at that market, of course, they wanted to have an upgraded product there. And the ship looks great, and it's perfect size for Alaska. Of course, it's a little smaller to get into those ports.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Poesia is now sailing out of Seattle, and this past week was the first sailing for the line. So it's a big deal for MSC to have another home port in the U.S. and that's Seattle.
Mm-hmm. And another option for consumers as well that like the MSC product, right? And want to go to Alaska.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to assume that your cruise on the World America was before the hantavirus outbreak.
Yes,
Any
yes, it
thoughts
was.
on that? To me, cruisers are cruisers, and it doesn't matter. And I think people, if they kind of waffle on taking a cruise, this is just another thing in their back pocket to say, well, what about this? What are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Yeah, so I mean, I think people who've cruised, I think understand that this was really a rare one-off incident, affecting a niche player. This is Ocean Wide Expeditions, this expedition cruise ship supplier,
Mm-hmm.
affecting a niche part of the industry in a remote part of the world where there was a perfect storm of hantavirus infection that occurred likely before this couple got on the ship. And this just happened to be the one variety of this virus that transmits between humans. So all those things added up to a perfect storm that will not reoccur. And so I think people who haven't cruised need to understand what a one-off rare incident this was, and not read anything further into it. And I don't think it's going to affect forward bookings in the industry. It's going to have a short-term ripple effect on perception, certainly, but I don't think it's going to have any kind of long-term effect. And there's a very good chance that it will not reoccur.
Yeah. I think people should know, too, that the CDC has higher, stricter standards for the cruise industry than it does for any other part of the hospitality industry.
That's
right.
true. That's true.
So, when not to negate the thing that happened with the hantavirus or norovirus or anything like that, it's just that they have to report at a much stricter level any kind of those instances, correct?
Exactly. And cruise lines are required to report any infections that affect more than 3% of guests and crew. And the ships are inspected twice a year. I can tell you they're rigorously inspected by CDC inspectors. This is the ships that visit U.S. ports, of course, on using hundreds of criteria to evaluate their scores. And other countries also have their, rigorous inspection procedures. So ships are clean. They're kept that way for obviously everyone's safety and health. And like I said, this hantavirus incident was really a one-off incident that doesn't reflect the industry as a whole and shouldn't deter, prospective cruisers from choosing a cruise vacation.
We used to have a big party to celebrate when we passed the CDC inspection.
Right. It was a big deal.
It was a big deal, exactly.
Yeah.
David Yeskel is the cruise guru. You can check out his website, oceancruise.guru. Follow him on X at Cruise Guru. Appreciate your time, David. It's always great to chat with you.
Oh, thanks for having me, Randy. Great to talk to you.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.